everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. We're headed back to the baseball diamond once again after last week's game of Inside Pitch to play APBA Baseball. Once again, baseball simulator. We're going to use the Paul Marino boards for this game to see what I think of them, but I'll have basic queued up and ready to go in case I get sick of the Marino boards for whatever reason. I don't have the master game for APBA, and so far, no plans to get it. This is kind of a halfway point between the basic game and the master game as the Marino boards that we'll be using tonight. I'm also testing this game with the new baseball layout. Once again, for those of you who aren't around for Inside Pitch or for baseball testing week, when I did baseball testing week back in March, I changed the layout that I'm using for baseball out at the halfway point. Inside Pitch was one of the games that was affected by the change that I wanted to go back and test. APBA was the others. APBA was the first game that I played on baseball testing week. So we're coming back to test with the new layout. Anyway, that ramble aside, we're headed back in time to 2005 for this matchup, so let's meet tonight's starting pitchers. We have the Oakland Athletics as our visiting team tonight, and their starting pitcher tonight is going to be Kirk Saarloos. He doesn't give the record that he had in 2005, but he did have a 4.17 ERA with 53 strikeouts and 54 walks in 27 games started for the Athletics. So you might be able to see here that we've got the master symbols toward the top of the card. I know wild pitch 1 I'll need. Which one is the fatigue rating? I believe it's Q. I believe he's a Q3, which he'll be reduced by a point at the beginning of the 7th inning, so that's how that will work. Then we've got the lefty-righty splits down here. He's a 6-rated pitcher. He'll become a C if I revert back to the basic game, but I'll point that out. I'll point it out when it's happening if it does. So that's it for our visiting starting pitcher. Now let's go meet our home starting pitcher. Our home starting pitcher tonight is John Garland for the Chicago White Sox. 32 games started, 115 strikeouts, 47 walks, and a 3.50 ERA in 2005. Looks like they started putting the master symbols on these cards in 2017. Okay, that's good to know. He is also actually a Q2, which means he'll be reduced by points at the start of the 8th inning. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. He's a rank 13 pitcher. We can see that down in the number in parentheses down below. Anyway, that's it for the starting pitchers. Now let's move over to the board to see how the shot looks over there. Everything looks good here. We're not going to use the dice tower tonight because we've got the small dice with the APBA shaker instead. So since we're all set up, let's go ahead and play ball. I'll explain more when they pop up in terms of how the Marino boards can change the game when a result actually makes me change a little bit different from what I'm doing in terms of roll the dice, get the result, and then go to the chart. So, like I said, more on that when it pops up. Anyway, we'll let Garland start his warm-up tosses while we take our first look at the starting lineup tonight for the Oakland Athletics. Leading off, we've got Jason Kendall as the catcher tonight. Mark Kotze's in center field. Bobby Crosby is your shortstop. Eric Chavez is at third base. Scott Hatteberg is the designated hitter. Jay Payton is in left field. Dan Johnson's at first base. Nick Swisher's in right field. And Marco Scutero is at second base. This is a historic game from July 8th, 2005. Now, the actual starting left fielder is Eric Burns, but I don't have Burns' card. I'd probably have to buy the extra players to get that. So, I think we're all set there, which means Garland is just about to finish up his warm-up tosses, and we'll bring Jason Kendall into the batter's box. He had a 271 average with no homers and 53 RBI in 2005. So Garland will get the sign. We'll get the sign from Pierzynski, and here's the pitch. 31 is a 14. That should be a base on balls. Yep. Unless he's a ZZ, but he's not. So Kendall will reach with a leadoff walk. All right, and then that will bring up the Center fielder, Mark Kotsay, with a 280 average, 15 homers, and 82 RBI. Infield will move to double play depth. Again, infield depth isn't really relevant in APBA baseball except for when the infield is playing in. But I'm trying to get used to saying it for inside pitch purposes. Anyway, Garland will get the sign from Przinsky once again, and here's the pitch. 22. 22 is a 7, so now here's where the Merino boards come into play. So now we take the lefty-righty splits. He's a left-handed batter, and I believe the splits only affect against the pitcher. I'm just double-checking that. The number before is added to or subtracted if the pitcher's great if he's a lefty. So it affects the pitcher's handed throwing. So Mark Kotsay against a righty is going to make Garland into a grade 16 pitcher. So now we'll take that result of a 7 to the Merino boards. Might be a little bit hard to hold this and show you in the binder, but we take the 16, come down to a 7. See, that'll be a single runner to third. So there are some numbers in here where, depending on the grade of the pitcher, they may be able to impact some of these results and change them to, instead of it being whatever result you rolled, that's the result it becomes. But in this case, Garland at a 16 and on the grade can't stop the single, and Kendall moving to third base. So Kotsay will reach with a base hit. And Kendall will move to third. I'll find the first and third board. There we are. The infield will play in at this point, and that'll bring Bobby Crosby up to the batter's box. Crosby had a 276 average with 9 homers and 38 RBI in 2005. Infield playing in. Garland gets the sign from Przinsky, and here's the pitch. 61 is a 24. The White Sox are a 40 on fielding, so they're in fielding 2. 61 we said is a 24. Let's see, that's going to be first on a fielder's choice. Runner's going to be out at home. Other runner to second base. Unless he's a D, he is not. Okay, so Crosby will reach on the fielder's choice. And that's a 4-2. Okay. 4-6-3. One scores if not the third out. So, that's on a C result, which neither one's a C. So that's actually going to be a force. Actually, that's going to be. What is that going to be? At a C or a D? What's the key on that one? Oh, so it looks like we checked the catcher on that one. Or do we? I was trying to get a feel for how the Merino boards work before the game actually starts, but let's see, Przinsky would be a grade of a 9. So he'd be on fielding 1, actually, which is going to be a 4-6-3 double play, it looks like. I'm still so confused on how the C and the D work in terms of the boards. Because it doesn't... It doesn't say on here. I was trying to make some notes earlier but it's not... I was trying to make some notes on the tutorial for the Merino boards, but I was more trying to find like a written guide for them, but there wasn't anything I was able to find there. So And of course, this isn't proving to be very helpful. Oh! If the infield is playing in or back. So because I had the infield... Okay. Right. I'm going to make a note on my note sheet for the Merino boards. So C... Infield in, infield back. Okay, that's what that is. Hang on. Now that I've got that sorted out, I'll put this back in the binder sheet. There we go. Okay, so now that we have that straight with the infield playing in, I apologize for that being a very clunky at bat. But since we had the infield in, that's going to be a 4-6-3 double play, and 1 run scores if not the third out. So they will get the 2 outs on a 4-6-3 double play, but the run will score. So Kendall will score, and they'll take the 2 outs. And that'll make it 1-0 Oakland. There's a lot of baseball to be played. And just like that, the bases are empty for Eric Chavez. 269 average, 27 homers, 101 RBI in 2005. Garland will get the sign from Przinsky, and here's the pitch. 41 is a 28, back to bases empty. 28 on fielding 2 is going to be grounded to short. Getting over to that one is going to be Uribe. He'll throw it over to first for the third out and retire the side. A walk, a single, and a scored run on a double play will make it 1-0 Oakland before Chicago's even had a chance to come to bat. Now Sarloos will step onto the mound, and he'll make his warm-up tosses while we take our first look at the lineup for the White Sox. Leading off for the White Sox, we have Scott Podsednik in center field, Willie Harris at second base, Carl Everett the designated hitter, Paul Konerko at first base, A.J. Przinsky, we've heard his name a couple times, catching, Jermaine Dye in right field, Timo Perez in the left, Joe Creed at third base, and Juan Uribe at shortstop. So Scott Podsednik will be our batter once I finish getting the lineup reset. Now I'm hoping it'll start flowing a little bit more. Anyway, we've got Scott Podsednik coming into the batter's box. No homers, 25 RBI in 2005. Sarloos will wait for the sign from Kendall, and here comes the pitch. 25 is an 11. Let's see, that's another righty pitcher. So he's a -2, which means it'll be a +2. So Sarloos will become an 8 will become an 8, and the result was a 7. Actually, the result was an 11. Can an 8 stop an 11? An 8 can't stop an 11, and that'll be a base hit. So Podsednik will lead off with a single. And then he'll steal second on the first pitch to the next batter, 1 strike on the next batter. So Podsednik will end up at second, as we'll bring Willie Harris up with 1 strike on him. Harris had a 256 average, 1 homer, 8 RBI in 2005. Infield won't be moving to double play depth because now there's no need for a double play. Sarloos will get the sign from Kendall, and here's the pitch. 24, once I remember to change my charts to runner on second. 24 for Harris is a 13. That should be a strikeout unless I am crazy, and indeed I am not. So, actually the pitcher does have an R, so that'll be a ground ball over to short, but it'll be taken care of there by Crosby. He'll move over to first, and Podsednik will stay put. That'll be the first out of the inning, as now we'll bring up Carl Everett into the batter's box. Everett with a 251 average, 23 homers, 87 RBI in 2005. Sarloos will get the sign from Kendall, and here's the pitch. 65 is a 35. That's not going to be good. Let's see, they're an infield. Oakland's an infield of 37, so also on fielding 2. 65 is a 35. That's going to be popped up on the foul side to third base. Getting under that one is going to be... Getting under that one's going to be Chavez. He'll make the catch in foul territory for the second out. If he was a... He would have had a walk on that if the pitcher had a W, but Sarloos does not have a W, so that'll be popped to third for the second out of the inning. And stepping into the batter's box next is Paul Konerko. 283 average, 40 homers, 100 RBI in 2005. Sarloos hoping to work around a leadoff runner advancing to second. Here's the sign from Kendall and the pitch. 36 is a 33. And that's going to get skied to shortstop. Getting under that one is going to be Crosby. He'll pull it in for the third out of the inning and retire the side. Nothing across the single except for the single and the stolen base. And it is now 1-0 Oakland after 1. We'll get ready for the top of the second, as now we've got the middle of Oakland's order due up next. Leading off the top of the second for the Athletics is Scott Hatteberg. 256 average, 7 homers, 59 RBI in 2005. Garland gets the sign from Pierzynski, and here's the pitch. 21 is a 30. We'll go back to bases empty. A 30 is going to be skied into left field. Getting under that one is going to be Perez. He won't have to go back too far. He'll make the catch for the first out of the inning. Next up is Jay Payton. 267 average, 18 homers, 63 RBI in 2005. Garland gets the sign from Pierzynski, and here's the pitch. 36 is a 33. And that's going to be popped up to second base. Getting under that one is going to be... Getting under that one's going to be Harris. He'll make the catch for the second out of the inning. Next up, we'll take our first look at the... Next up, we'll take our first look at the first baseman, Dan Johnson. 275 average, 15 homers, 58 RBI in 2002. Garland gets the sign from Pierzynski, and here comes the pitch. 65 is a 35, and that's going to get popped straight up the chimney. Getting under that one is going to be Pierzynski. He'll take about a 5-second power nap while he waits for that to come back down before the ball falls into his glove and retires the side. 1, 2, 3 go the White Sox in here in the top of the second. The bottom of the second will also bring the middle of Chicago's order due into the plate. Speaking of Mr. Pierzynski, we'll be taking our first look at the White Sox catcher, A.J. Pierzynski. 257 average, 18 homers, 56 RBI in 2005. Sarloos gets a sign from Kendall, and here's the pitch. 14 is a 30, and that's going to get skied into left field. Getting under that one for the Athletics will be Payton. He'll make the catch for the first out of the inning. Next to the plate will be the right fielder, Jermaine Dye. 274 average, 31 homers, 86 RBI in 2005. Sarloos gets the sign, and here comes the offering. An 11, that's a 5. Minus 2, Sarloos is going to become an 8. I'm pretty sure an 8 can't stop a 5. An 8 cannot stop a 5. A 9 could have. Actually, no. Not even an 8 could. Not even a 9. Actually, you have to be all the way to 17 to stop. Wait. 11 was a 5, so no. Yep, okay, that's going to be a double for Jermaine Dye. I apologize for the delay there. Jermaine Dye is going to smack that one into left field, and that will be a double. Dye gets on with a one-out double, and we saw the White Sox have a similar situation back in the first, but they couldn't capitalize on it. Timo Perez, the left fielder, is due up next. He had a .216 average with 2 homers and 15 RBI. Let's see if he can get a big one here. Sarloos looking a little bit nervous with Dye at second. Here's the pitch. 22, that's a pretty good reason to be nervous. An 8. Let's see, -3. He's a -0, so he's still a 6. That'll be an 8. Oop, change it to runners on first, Phoenix. All right, so let me just double check again. A 0 stays a 6. Can he stop an 8? 6, he can't. And that's going to be a base hit into right field. It's hit pretty deep. Dye will make third on that play. The infield, they're going to play. Well, first up, we'll meet the next batter for the White Sox, the third baseman, Joe Creed, with a .252 average, 22 homers, 62 RBI in 2005. We'll change it to runners on the corners. The infield, The infield is going to play in. They don't want the run to score. So Creed will get the sign. We'll wait for the pitch from Sarloos, and here it comes. 23 is a 12. And since the infield was in, that'll be a ground ball over to second. Getting to that one is going to be Scooter. He'll take the out at home. So that'll be 4-2 on the fielder's choice. Yeah. So 4-2 on the fielder's choice, but he will reach. Dye will be out. Yep, Dye will be out. Perez will be at second. Creed will be at first. Dye's out, and there are 2 outs in the inning. As next up is Juan Uribe, while I reset things slightly here. Uribe with a .252 average, 16 homers, 71 RBI in 2005. Changing to first and second now, without sending my score sheet flying. Sarloos waits for the sign, and here's the pitch. That's a 45, which is a 14. That sounds like a walk. He's not a Z or ZZ, so that will be a base on balls for Uribe. And suddenly the White Sox have the bases loaded with 2 outs. No place to put Scott Pasednik, although Scott is 1 for 1 with Pasednik's 1 for 1 with a base hit. Base is full. Sarloos looking a little bit nervous, but there are 2 outs in the inning. Sarloos will get the sign from Kendall and make the pitch. 25 is a 13. That sounds like a much-needed strikeout, and it is, and the Athletics will get out of the inning. That'll be a called strike 3 on the outside corner. So Sarloos gets into a bases-loaded jam, but he's able to get the Athletics out of it, still with the lead, 1-0 after 2. Once I finish getting my lineup reset here. I believe it should be like that. Yes. We'll get ready for the top of the third with the bottom of Oakland's order due up next. Garland finishes up his warm-up tosses as Nick Swisher steps into the batter's box for the first time today. .236 average, 21 homers, 74 RBI in 2005. Garland will get the sign from Brzezinski, and here comes the pitch. 65 is a 35. And that's going to be popped up the chimney once again. Brzezinski throws his mask away and makes the catch for the first out of the inning. Up next, we'll take our first look at Marco Scutaro, .247 average, 9 homers, 37 RBI in 2005. Garland with the pitch. 33, that's a 0. That's a second column result. 25 is a 1. 0-13. Boom! That ball is hit high. That ball is hit deep to left field. And turning around to watch that go into the seats is going to be Perez. Home run, Marco Scutaro. And just like that, it is 2-0 in favor of the Athletics. Scutaro will trot around the bases as the stadium groans while he makes his trip. Ugh. Next up is Jason Kendall. Kendall is 1 for 1. Actually, he reached on a walk. Garland with the pitch. 12 is a 25. And that's going to be a ground ball over to second. Getting to that one is going to be Harris. He'll move it over to Konerko at first. And that'll be the second out of the inning. Next up will be Mark Kotze. Kotze is 1 for 1. I was looking at Harris for a second, but Kotze is 1 for 1. Garland. 21 is a 30. And that's going to be skied into left field. Getting under that one is going to be Perez. He'll make the catch and retire the side. The only hit of the inning being a solo bomb by Scutaro to make it 2-0 Oakland as we head into the bottom of the third. Sarloos will make his warm-up tosses as we've got the 2-3-4 coming up next for Chicago. Willie Harris up first. He grounded out back in the first. Sarloos. 12 is a 25. And that's going to be grounded over to Scutaro at second base. He'll move that over to Johnson at first for the first out of the inning. As I drop my card. Next up is Everett. Everett is 0 for 1. He popped out to third his first time up. Sarloos waits for the sign, and here's the offering. 63 is a 32. And that's going to be a fly ball into right field. Coming under that one is going to be Swisher. He'll make the catch for the second out of the inning. And next up is Paul Konerko. Konerko is 0 for 1. Sarloos looks to be settling in quite nicely. He gets the sign from Kendall, and here's the pitch. 24 is a 13. I'm sure that'll be a strikeout. Yep, that'll be a swing. Actually, take that back. He's an R. That's going to be a fly ball to center field. Getting under that one is going to be Kotze. He'll make the catch, and that will retire the side. 1, 2, 3 go the White Sox. And it is 2-0 Chicago after 3. We'll get ready for the top of the fourth with the heart of Oakland's order due up next. Garland finishes up his warm-up tosses as stepping into the batter's box is Bobby Crosby. Crosby hit into a double play his first time up. Garland will get the sign from Brzezinski, and here comes the offering. 23 is a 12, which is going to be a ground ball over to first. Konerko will get to that one, but he'll take it to the bag himself for the first out. Stepping in the batter's box next is Chavez. Chavez is 0 for 1. Garland makes the offering. 43 is a 29. And that's going to be a ground ball right back to the pitcher. He'll flip it over to Konerko at first. Apparently I'm tongue-tied tonight. That'll be the second out of the inning. As Hatterberg now steps into the batter's box. He's 0 for 1. Garland will pitch. 55, that's an 8. Garland will stay at 13. And he will screw with an 8. That'll turn into a 31, which will turn into a fly ball to center field. Getting under that one is going to be Posednik, and that will retire the side. 1, 2, 3 go the A's in the top of the fourth. Stepping into the batter's box first for the White Sox is Pierzynski. Pierzynski is 0 for 1. Starloose with the sign, gets the sign, and here comes the pitch. 54 is a 32. And that's going to be a fly ball into right field. Getting under that one is going to be Swisher. He'll make the catch for the first out of the inning. Next into the batter's box is Dye. Dye is 1 for 2 is 1 for 1 with a double. Starloose will pitch. 23 is a 12, and that'll be another ground ball right over to first base. Johnson will take that to the bag himself, and that's the second out of the inning. Next up we have Perez. Perez is also 1 for 1 with a double. Here's the pitch from Starloose. 45 is a 14. That should be a walk. Yep. That will be ball 4, just missing the outside corner. Next up is Creed. Creed is 0 for 1 with the fielder's choice. We'll change the charts to the runaround first. Starloose looks over at Perez. 42 is a 13. And that's going to be a fly ball. That'll be a fly ball. Getting under that one is going to be the shortstop, Crosby. He'll make the catch for the third out of the inning. Nothing across except the walk for the White Sox, and it remains 2-0 after 4. Getting ready for the top of the fifth now, with the middle of Oakland's order due up next. Garland finishes up his warm-up tosses as Peyton steps into the batter's box. Peyton is 0 for 1. Garland will make the pitch. 23 is a 12. And that's going to be a ground ball to first base. Konerko will take that to the bag himself for the first out of the inning. Next up we have Johnson. Johnson is 0 for 1 as well. Garland gets the sign from Pierzynski, and here comes the pitch. 42 is a 14. That should be a walk. That'll just catch the inside. That'll just miss the inside corner for ball 4. Next up will be Swisher. Swisher is 0 for 1. Infield will move to double play depth. Garland looks over at Johnson at first and gets the sign from Pierzynski for the pitch. That's an 11. Uh-oh, that's a 0. That could be a problem. 43 is a 6. Let's see, plus 1 makes him a 12. Can a 12 stop a 6? 12 cannot stop a 6. That's going to be smacked into left field. That'll be for a double. And he's a slow runner, so Johnson will hold at third base. That's going to be a 2-bagger. And Garland suddenly has a lot of problems on his hands. He's got second and third with 1 out. And Scutaro coming up. Scutaro hit a solo blast in the second. Runners on second and third. Here we go. Garland looking a little bit nervous with runners at second and third with only 1 out. Here's the pitch. 45 is a 14. Uh-oh. That's going to be trouble. That will be a base on balls for Scutaro. And just like that, the bases are full of athletic. Actually, no. Well, the bases are full. And that will bring Kendall up to the plate. Kendall is 0 for 1 with a walk. Garland looking very nervous. The infield's going to play in. They don't want any more runs to score. Let me find the bases loaded chart. There we are. Nowhere to put Kendall. Here's the pitch. 61 is a 24. 24. They were playing in. So that's going to be a ground ball right. That's going to be a ground ball to short. Getting to that one is Crosby. He'll come home for the play. Actually, not Crosby. Getting to that one is going to be Uribe. He'll come home to Pierzynski for the play. Pierzynski will move it over to Konerko, and the White Sox will get out of what had potential to be a disaster with a 6-2-3 twin killing. The White Sox will dodge a huge bullet there as they get the twin killing to get out of a bases-loaded jam in the top of the fifth. Stadium size. Phew! Sarlou steps onto the mound to make his warm-up tosses for the bottom of the fifth, as Uribe will step into leadoff. Uribe reached on a walk back in the second. Sarlou gets the sign, and here's the pitch. 13 is a 23 once we go back to bases, once we get back to our normal charts. 13 is a 23. And we have to check the fielder. Checking the pitcher. It looks like, actually checking the infield. Hang on. Bear with me while I calculate this out. 8, 16, 21, 23, 31, which puts us still on fielding 2. So 13 was a 23. That's gonna be hit right back to Sarlou, but he's gonna boot it, and Uribe will be safe at first. Infield will move to double play as Posednik steps into the batter's box. Posednik is 1 for 2 today. They've got some speed on the base pass. Sarlou looks at Kendall for the sign, and here's the pitch. 45 is a 14, except that's not going to be helpful. That's going to be a base on balls. Yes. Just like that, the White Sox already have something cooking with nobody out. That'll bring Harris up to the plate. Harris is 0 for 2. Sarlou's looking a little bit nervous now at the go-ahead run at second base. Sarlou's will get the sign from Kendall, and here comes the pitch. 24 is a 13. That's going to be a fly ball to shortstop. Getting under that one's going to be Crosby. He'll make the catch for the first out of the inning. Now coming to the plate is Everett. Everett is 0 for 2. Sarlou gets the sign, and here comes the pitch. 46 is a 29. Actually, no. 46 is a 13. That's going to be another fly ball to... Wait. Runners on first and second. Remember your charts, Phoenix. So actually, that last play would have been a strikeout. As will this one be, I believe. 46 for Everett is a 13. Yep, that's going to be another strikeout. And next up is Konerko. Konerko is 0 for 2. Sarlou gets the sign, and here's the pitch. 21 is a 13. And that will be another called strike 3, and the inning is over. Nothing across except the error and the walk. It remains 2-0 Oakland after 5. Get everything reorganized here. We'll get ready for the top of the 6th now, with the 2, 3, 4 of Oakland's order due up next. Garland will finish his warm-up tosses, as stepping into the batter's box will be Mark Kotsay. Kotsay is 1 for 2. Garland gets the sign, and here's the pitch. 55. Uh-oh, that's an 8. He's a -3. Garland becomes a 16. Can he stop an 8? 16. He can stop an 8. He'll turn it into a 31, and that's going to be a fly ball to center field. Getting under that one is Posednik. He'll make the catch for the first out of the inning. Next up is Crosby. Crosby is 0 for 2. Garland waits for the sign, and here comes the pitch. 16 is a 28. And that's going to be grounded to short. Uribe will get to that one with no problem. Move it over to Konerko at first for the second out of the inning. Next to the batter's box, we have Chavez. Chavez is 0 for 2. Garland with the pitch. 21 is a 30. And that's going to be a fly ball into left field. Coming under that one is Perez. He'll have no problems with that one. And that will retire the side. 1, 2, 3 go the Athletics here in the top of the 6th. Sarloos will make his warm-up tosses as we get ready for Przinski to lead off the bottom of the 6th. Przinski is 0 for 2 today. Sarloos gets the sign from Kendall, and here's the pitch. 43 is a 29. That's probably not good. Nope, that's going to be a ground ball right back to the pitcher. Sarloos will get that one. He'll underhand it over to Johnson at first for the first out of the inning. And next into the batter's box will be Jermaine Dye. Dye is 1 for 2 with a double. Sarloos gets the sign, and here comes the pitch. 22. Oh boy, that's a 6. He's a -2, so that'll make Sarloos an 8. Can an 8 screw with a 6? Let's see, is he an M pitcher? He's not. So Dye's gonna end up smacking another one into right field, and that one's gonna be a double. Dye will reach with a 1-out double. Stepping into the batter's box next is Perez. Perez is 1 for 1 with a double of his own. Sarloos gets the sign from Kendall, and here comes the pitch. 41 is a 28. And that's going to be a ground ball to shortstop. That'll be a ground ball to short. Getting to that one is going to be Crosby. He'll move it over to first for the out. Dye will stay put on the play. Next up is Creed. Creed is 0 for 2. Sarloos gets the sign, and here's the pitch. 25 is a 9. Let's see, -2 makes him an 8. Can an 8 stop a 9? An 8 can stop a 9. That'll turn into a 26. Which will be a ground ball to second. Getting to that one is going to be... Scudero. He'll flip it over to Johnson at first, and that will be the inning. The White Sox get a 1-out double, but can't do anything with it, and the score remains 2-0 in favor of Oakland. We'll get ready for the top of the 7th now, with the middle of Oakland's order due up next. Garland finishes his warm-up tosses. We're also getting some activity up in the Oakland bullpen as Jay Wittisick is going to get loosening up for the Athletics. Leading off the top of the 7th, though, is going to be Scott Hatteberg. Hatteberg is 0 for 2. Garland gets the sign from Przinski, and here's the pitch. A 12 is a 25. And that's going to be a ground ball over to second. Getting to that one is going to be Harris. He'll move over to Konerko at first for the first out of the inning. Next up, we'll have Peyton. Peyton is 0 for 2. Garland gets the sign, and here's the pitch. 66. Uh-oh. That's a 1. And Garland's going to remain a 13. Boom! High, deep, gone. Home run, Jay Peyton. And that will extend the Oakland lead to 3-0, as Peyton will take a nice, easy trot around the bases as the stadium groans once again. Ugh. And Peyton gets mobbed as he gets into the dugout. Coming up next will be Dan Johnson. Johnson is 0 for 1 with a walk. Garland gets the sign, and here's the pitch. 44. Uh-oh, that's an 8. He's a -2. That'll make Garland a 15. Can a 15 stop an 8? And a 15 can stop an 8. That'll turn into a 32, which will be a fly ball into right field. Getting under that one is going to be Dye, and he'll make the catch for the second out of the inning. Next up is Swisher. Swisher is 1 for 2 with a double. Garland gets the sign, and here's the pitch. 65 is a 35. And that's going to be popped right up the chimney. Przinski once again will get under that one, make the catch, and retire the side. Solo shot by Peyton being the only highlight of the inning, but also the reason it's now 3-0 in favor of the Athletics. Sarloos is going to come out of the game. I've already compiled stats for him, and coming in to pitch will be Jay Wittesick. 60 games appeared, 2.84 ERA, 73 strikeouts, 29 walks in 2005. Leading off the inning for the White Sox in the bottom of the 7th will be Juan Uribe. Uribe actually hasn't had an official at-bat. He's reached on a walk and an error today. Wittesick will get the sign, and here's the pitch. A 14 is a 30. And that's going to be popped up, actually, yes, that's going to be popped up into left field. Getting under that one is going to be Peyton. He'll make the catch for the first out of the inning. Next up is Pasednik. Pasednik is 1 for 2 with a walk and a single. Wittesick gets the sign, and here's the pitch. 33, that seems like it's trouble. That's an 8. That's going to turn Wittesick into a 16. 16 can stop an 8, turns it into a 31. And that's a fly ball into center field. Getting under that one is going to be Kotze. He'll make the catch for the second out of the inning. And next up is Willie Harris. Harris is 0 for 3. He's not having a good day at the plate at all. We're going to get some activity in the White Sox bullpen as well. As who are we going to get warming up for the White Sox? Let's see. Righty, righty, lefty. Let's see if they got a lefty in relief. They do. They're going to get Damaso Marte warming up for the White Sox. Anyway, coming back to Wittesick and Harris. Wittesick gets the sign from Kendall, and here's the pitch. 55. That sounds like trouble. Actually, 55 is a 22. That seems a little weird, but okay. So that's going to require a check on the catcher, who's Kendall. He's an 8. Catcher 8's going to put him at fielding 1. That's going to be a ground ball right in front of the catcher. It's not going to go too far. Kendall will get that one, and he'll move it over to Johnson at first for the third out of the inning. 1, 2, 3 go the White Sox, and the score is 3-0 Oakland after 7. We'll get ready for the top of the 8th, with the top of Oakland's order due up next. Garland is going to come out of the game for the White Sox. He had a pretty good outing. Probably would be in line for the win if Sarloos didn't have an even better outing. But coming in to pitch for the Athletics, that should be 3 runs and 3 earned. Coming in to pitch for the White Sox will be Damaso Marte. 3.77 ERA, 54 strikeouts, 33 walks in 2005. Leading off the inning is Marco Scutaro. He is 1 for 1 with a solo blast back in the 3rd and a walk. Marte gets a sign from Przinski, and here's the pitch. 32 is a 26. And that's going to be grounded over to second. Getting to that one is going to be Harris. He'll move it over to Konerko at first for the first out of the inning. Next up will be the catcher, Jason Kendall. Kendall is 0 for 2 with a walk. Marte gets a sign, and here's the pitch. 16 is a 28. That'll be a ground ball over to short. Uribe will get after that one. He'll move it over to Konerko at first for the second out of the inning. 2 quick outs will bring Kotze up to the plate. Kotze is 1 for 3. Marte gets a sign in the pitch. 25 is an 8. He's a -3. That'll make Marte a 15. I believe a 15 can stop an 8. Yes, it can. 25. Yeah, 25 is an 8. That'll turn into a 32. A 32 is going to be a fly ball to right field. Getting under that one is going to be Dye. He'll make the catch. And 1, 2, 3 will go the White Sox as Marte holds the game to 3-0. I believe Whitesick isn't affected by fatigue until Q3, being in the third inning. Okay. All right. Now that we've got that straight, now we've got the heart of Oakland, Chicago's order due up next. Carl Everett coming up, though he is 0 for 3. He's having a pretty rough day. There's a sign in the pitch. 14 is a 30. That's nothing good. That'll be a fly ball to left field. Getting to that one is going to be Peyton. He'll make the catch for the first out of the inning. Next up for the White Sox is Konerko. Konerko is also having a rough day. He's 0 for 3. Whitesick gets the sign from Kendall, and here's the pitch. 56 is a 34. That's going to be popped up. That's going to be popped up on the infield. Crosby will come under that one. He'll make the catch for the second out of the inning. And coming to the plate is Przinsky. Przinsky is 0 for 3 as well. Whitesick gets the sign from Kendall, and here's the pitch. 35 is a 38. That'll be ball 1. Not often I've needed to keep track of balls and strikes. And actually, now that I look at it, there's a very convenient tracker here on the board for that. Look at that. Didn't think I'd ever need it. But ball 1 will do it again. 14 is a 30. And that's going to be another fly ball into left field. Once again, getting under that one is going to be Peyton. He's staying loose. He'll make the catch, and that'll be the third out of the inning. 1, 2, 3 will go the White Sox, and it will remain 3-0 Chicago or 3-0 Oakland after 8. We'll get ready for the top of the 9th with the heart of Oakland's order due up next. We're going to get some more activity in the Oakland bullpen as Houston Street's now going to get ready to try to close out this game for the Athletics. But leading off the top of the 9th is going to be Bobby Crosby. Crosby is 0 for 3. Marte gets the sign from Kendall, and here's the pitch. Marte gets the sign from Przinsky, and here's the pitch. 13 is a 14, and Crosby will lead off the inning with ball 4. That'll just miss the inside corner and be a walk. That'll bring up Chavez. Chavez is 0 for 3. The infield will move to double play depth. Marte gets the sign, and here's the pitch. 42 is a 13. That should be a called strike 3. Yes, no R rating, so that will be a strikeout for Marte as he keeps Chavez off the base paths. Next up will be Hatteberg. Hatteberg is also 0 for 3. Marte gets a sign from Przinsky, and here comes the pitch. 15 is an 8. Let's see, a 0, a 12 has got to be able to stop an 8, and just misses it. That'll be a base hit into left field. Crosby won't make third. But he'll advance on the one-out single. On this one-out single by Hatterberg. That'll bring Peyton up to the plate. Peyton is 1 for 3 with a solo bomb. Marte looks in at Przinsky a little bit nervous for the sign, and here's the pitch. 64 is a 13. And that will be a called strike 3 as it just misses as it just catches enough of the outside corner to ring up Peyton. Peyton not happy about the call, but he's going back to the batters, back to the dugout. Next up is Johnson. Johnson is 0 for 2 with a walk. Here's the pitch. 16 is a 28. And that's going to be a ground ball to second. Getting to that one is going to be Harris. He'll take the sure out. He'll take it to the bag himself for the force out, and that will retire the side. Walk and a hit and a base hit, but nothing else happening. But now the question becomes, the age-old question, will we see some ninth inning magic? Whittisik's going to come out of the game as the Athletics are going to bring in Houston Street to try to close this one out. 2 innings pitched for Whittisik. I'm just compiling his stats real quick. He didn't strike anybody out, did he? No. Faced 6 batters. Okay. I'll compile stats for Marte because I think his night is pretty much done as well. Let's see. 1 hit, 1 walk, no runs. Struck out 2, faced 8. Okay. Leading off the inning for the White Sox will be Jermaine Dye. As Street is going to try to close this game out. Dye is 2 for 3. He's got 2 doubles today. Street gets the sign from Kendall, and here's the pitch. 54 is a 32. That's probably not good. That'll be a... Change your charts. 32 will still be a fly ball into right field. Getting under that one is going to be Swisher. He'll make the catch for the first out of the inning. Next up, we'll have Timo Perez. Perez is 1 for 2 with a walk and a single. Street will get the sign, and here's the pitch. 33 is a 7. He's a 0 against a grade 22. A 7. That'll be a base hit. He'll smack that one just out of the... That'll be a seeing eye single that gets out of the infield. Perez will reach with a 1-out single. The infield will move to double play depth as we've got Creed coming up to the batter's box. Creed is 0 for 3. Street will get the sign from Kendall, and here's the pitch. 35 is a 39. Runner is going to be thrown out stealing. So Perez tries to get... yeah, it looks like Perez tried to get cute and tried to steal on the pitch, but he's going to be thrown out. So he'll be caught stealing, and now we'll do it again. So he tries to get greedy and move himself into scoring position, but he's thrown out. And that will be, and we'll go back to bases empty. So now it's suddenly last chance for the White Sox is Creed. 51 is a 9. Let's see, that makes him a 24. Can a 24 stop a 9? A 24 can. That'll turn it into a 32, which will be a fly ball into right field. Getting under that one is going to be Swisher. He takes a couple of steps to his right, puts his glove out, blop, and the ball falls into it. That's your game. The Oakland Athletics will shut out the Chicago White Sox 3-0. Stadium groans. Ugh. And I will compile stats here real quick so I can also give you the final line score, so bear with me for just a second. Okay. And who had the error? One of these teams had somebody reached on an error. Here it is. Uribe reached on an error. Okay. Final line score. For the Athletics, 3 runs on 5 hits and 1 error. The White Sox, no runs on 5 hits and no errors. Winning pitcher tonight is Kirk Saarloos. John Garland takes the loss. Houston Street gets the save, and Gerald Whittisik's going to end up with a hold. That'll do it for this playthrough of APBA Baseball with the Merino boards. We're not quite done with the video yet, though, because we've also got a product unboxing of something that came in Sunday. So I'm going to clean all of this up, then I'm going to change my battery, and we'll come back with that ready to unbox. This is a delivery I got from a gentleman off Board Game Geek. This actually came in on Sunday, but I haven't had the chance to unbox it until now. I mentioned that Atlantic Chase had left my collection not too long ago. This should be the result of that trade. So, let's find out what's in here with not a terrible tape job, I don't think. Looks like I can slice it there. It looks like I'm going to have to slice here as well. I don't particularly like slicing toward myself, especially with these flat rate boxes that, I was going to say that I know I hate, but I actually didn't need to slice toward myself. Anywho, we can close that. And what we're greeted by in here is indeed the result of that trade. So we've got a copy in here. Looks like maybe an older printing. It looks like the second printing of Combat Commander Pacific by GMT Games. Now, I've heard a lot of good things about Combat Commander, so I wanted to give this one a whirl. And plus I had Atlantic Chase that had to leave my collection anyway, so this very much killed 2 birds with 1 stone there. We'll take a quick look at the back. It feels like a fairly heavy box. And I'm going to do my usual trick with the sleeve, or with the lid. We will do a deeper product unboxing on this probably this weekend, but don't hold me to that. Anyway, let's take a quick look at the back. Combat Commander Pacific Volume 3 is a card-driven board game covering tactical infantry combat in the Pacific Theater of Operations in World War II. One of Combat Commander Pacific's themes is the addition of 3 new factions to the Combat Commander family: Imperial Japan, Pacific US with a strong emphasis on the US Marine Corps, and Pacific Commonwealth focusing on Indian and Anzac forces. Combat Commander is a standalone game in the Combat Commander game series. While utilizing Combat Commander Europe's base rules, Combat Commander Pacific evolves and improves upon the system. Numerous rule tweaks and additions allow Combat Commander Pacific to more accurately portray tactical warfare as experienced by the participants in and around the Pacific and Indian Oceans. This slightly ramps up the complexity of the Combat Commander series, while at the same time imparting a bit more depth and realism. Just a few of the additions include bonsai attacks, BARs and Thompson SMGs, beach landings and river crossings, hidden movement, caves, aircraft, bayonets, mortar spotting, treetop snipers, and reconnoitering. We'll take a look at the rest of that when we go deeper on this box later this weekend, but that will do it for this playthrough of APBA Baseball. I don't know how I feel about the Merino boards, even with the addition of... I don't know how I feel about APBA Baseball, even with the addition of the Merino boards. Yes, it feels a little bit better to actually include the pitcher cards with the master symbols on them, but the fact that you need the master symbols on there to be able to use the Merino boards kind of bothers me a little bit. I still wish there would have been a little bit more of the baseball flavor, like with your range plays, with your... well, mainly the range plays, I think, but I'm still deciding how I feel about APBA Baseball, even with the addition of the Merino boards. I do like that it brings the pitchers in a little bit more, but I still wish it would have brought the ballparks in. So I'll have some time to think about that over the next few weeks, but anyway, we might do more with those in the future, but that remains to be seen. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble a little bit here, so let's wrap this video up. Saturday Mystical Munchies out of the Star Wars Galactic Baking Cookbook we'll continue with the entree, Fallen Posset cheese stuffed sandwich. Sunday, we're over to the Waking investigators in the spring campaign for Arkham Horror, the card game, with their third scenario as they venture past the point of no return. Next week, we're going to do another play-along on cartographers. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.